Hey everybody, Pastor Jared here. I'm here again to talk to you for the second time now in our second video about the restructuring of our church. Again, this is something that I'm pitching to you. It has not yet been voted on or really discussed yet beyond me giving you what I see as the best option for us going forward in structuring ourselves as a church with a team-driven model that's going to help us be as efficient and effective for the kingdom as possible. Last video that you saw gave a big overview of the structure that I'm proposing and sort of comparing it to the system that we currently use. Currently we use directors and committees. I'm proposing that we really combine those down into one team with a team leader, team members, and then team supporters, which are volunteers, to support the work and agenda of that team. So last time we spoke, I just gave you a big picture. Today I want to dive into each team and give you a profile of what each team might have under it to answer some of your questions. Okay, well, I serve in this area of the church. Well, where is that going to go? Hopefully I can answer that for you in this video. And let me just say before I get into it too far, again, this is big picture. So there's going to have to be some fine details worked and massaged in there. This is not a perfect system yet. There's always going to be that little nitpicky thing that you can find that just doesn't perfectly work. Okay, fine. We have that in our system now. Again, all I ask is that consider, is this better? Is this better than what we have? And will it make us more effective? Will it reduce the amount of conflict that we have due to a lack of clarity in our current system? Okay, so I have proposed 10 teams to you. And again, those could split into different teams. It could be 11, 12 in the future. I've tried to go as minimal as possible, and I'll let you know if I think this could be a split team at some point, but I tried to make them as minimal as possible. So these are the 10 teams, and I want to give you just a snapshot of each one and what that would entail. Remember, each team has one leader. And under that leader, there will be members of that team that help the leader do the work to be a sounding board. But I want to lead leaders. All right. Now, the first team is our children's team, and that will be from birth until 5th grade. To give you an idea of what the children's team and team leader would oversee, would be the Woodlands, our Calvary Kids, any Wednesday night programming. Okay, so that is a change. I'm going to try to identify things that might be different. Currently, Wednesday night programming with our kids has gone through our missions in RAs, GAs, mission friends, things like that. I'm looking to transfer that to children's department, our children's ministry, so that we can be cohesive. I want to have one leader with one mind and one plan overseeing the growth and development of our kids. So I'm moving any Wednesday night programming, 5th grade and under the guidance of the children's team. This would also include VBS. That's a huge thing every summer. Any camps, any events or special day trips. Our kids want to go to Chuck E. Cheese. All right, well, that's under the children's team. Any curriculum choices, including Sunday school. A cohesive plan to ensure that our kids are prepared for 6th grade, moving into youth. A plan to have parents engaged in the life of our children, working with us and their children to make parents the disciplers. All of that is the children's team. Again, birth through 5th grade, everything. All right. Next is the youth team. And that just picks up at the next age bracket, 6th through 12th grade. So that would include any youth Bible studies, Sunday schools, Wednesday night youth group. I would love for us to bring that back at some point. I'm praying that we are allowed to do that, that we can do that. And so that would be under the guidance of the youth group. Any camps, any special events, trips, socials, hangouts, that would all be under the youth team and team leader. And then just a plan to prepare a transition of our youth into college. The next team is the Bible studies team. So that would be all Bible studies and Christian education in our church from college age to senior adults. So all Bible studies would include our Sunday school program. That's the hour on Sunday mornings, but it would also include any off-campus Bible studies, Thursdays, Tuesdays, Fridays, anything like that, or any Zoom classes that occur anytime that are a Bible study. So if you'll remember earlier this year, I released something called the Standards of a CHBC Sponsored Bible Study. This team leader would be responsible for enforcing that to make sure that these are the standards upheld by a sponsored class at Calvary Hills. They're going to be hopefully guiding our teachers to curriculum, be somewhat aware of what curriculum is going well in other churches. So Lifeway, sure, but also a knowledge of other options if we want to stray away from the Lifeway curriculum. And then that would be the leader and encourager of the teachers. So scouting for new classes, promoting new classes, all of that is going to be under the Bible studies team. Next will be the missions team. This will be a lot happening here. As you know, I am a missions guy, and so I think if we can make the missions team in charge of a lot, I like that because I like looking at everything we do through the lens of missions. All right, so the missions team and team leader are going to oversee all outreach events in our church. So anytime we do an event that has the express purpose of connecting with unbelievers, all right, and that's, by the way, should be a lot of what we do. It should be rare that that's not the purpose, okay? That's going to be underneath the guidance of the missions team. Any evangelistic event that we hold, any evangelistic training that we hold, they're going to promote the missions offerings. So Lottie Moon, Annie Armstrong, Mary Hill Davis are the big three. Anytime we do a missions giving emphasis, that should come through the missions team. Mercy ministries, such as just an example, our food pantry, or say we do a clothing drive, anything like that, help for the homeless, any of that should be within our missions team. Prayer ministries or emphases should be through the missions team. So, for example, earlier in the year we did Who's Your One, which was an emphasis on praying for one specific person in your life to come to Christ. That should be through the missions team. I have given a big challenge to our church. The CHBC Mission Challenge. There's a video on that on our YouTube channel if you want to watch it. But basically, it's a 7-year plan, and this should happen quarterly. This should happen yearly. This should happen every 2 years, every 5 years, and every 7 years. The missions team is responsible for putting into practice and implementing that challenge. So there's a lot built into that. So that team is responsible for making sure that happens. And that includes church planting, revitalizations, holding outreach events, personal evangelism, all sorts of things. Okay, so that's a big one. Local partnerships and organizations. Anything our church partners with outside of our church should be through the missions department. So if we have partnerships and connections to other churches, or campus ministries like Destino, or Goodwill, Walmart, we've got friendships and connections over there. Trail Life, American Heritage Girls, Camp Gladiator, Classical Conversations. These are all organization partnerships that we should be using through the avenue of our missions department. Local schools, law enforcement, hospitals, anything where we're trying to reach out and connect with another organization to work with our church. I feel like the missions team should handle that. Okay, so that's a missions. Next is worship and media. This would include all church music, the band, the worship band, vocalists, selection of the songs that we sing. This would include our sound booth, the soundboard, the lights, the slide presentation, stage design. This would include our entire online and digital presence. All right, there's a lot baked into that. But what we're calling communications, this would be that under the worship and media team. Our website, our social media, any tech concerns, graphic design, any of that would fall under this one column. And so I'll just say this could be a potential split in the future where one geared towards worship and music splits, and media and creative design tech, things like that, split. For now, let's keep it together as we launch. Let's try to be as minimal as possible, but someday in the future, that's a potential split area. I just want you to know that. Next team would be hospitality. Okay, so this would be the team that is dedicated to a pleasant experience for our church body and for guests. So this would include what our current fellowship committee has done would fall under this. So this would be any socials, meals, food service preparation would be under the hospitality team. And that's really what you're doing. You're being hospitable to our church family or anyone that comes as a guest. So being that food service is here, this would include the morning breakfast. This has just started this year. Many of you have indicated how much you enjoy that before Sunday school. So whenever that does return, this would be under the hospitality team. You've seen various coffee bars or snack trays and tables throughout our church. The hospitality team would be charged with overseeing and stocking and reordering as is possible, all of those things, because those are our church's attempts to reach out in a warm way to make you feel comfortable, to make you feel like we're happy you're here. I hope you enjoy your time with us at Calvary Hills. And so that's that. I've also added the greeting team and the welcome center to the hospitality team because I feel like they're really trying to accomplish the same thing. The greeting team and the welcome center desk, their passion is that first-time guests get connected, that you can find your way to where you're trying to go, that you have been given a guest bag, someone said hello with a warm smile, opened the door for you, showed you where the kids' check-in was, all of that. To me, that's the same mindset. And so at some point, that could be a split, but I believe they're very similar, and we should keep them together for now. Next team is the safety team. So this area already has a job description, so all I'm saying is just some brief points from that. But basically, our safety leader and team would be overseeing our children and youth workers in the area of safety concerns. So ensuring background checks are done on all of our workers without exceptions, that they're current background checks, that we are using the best standards and practices. And so I know that we have begun a relationship with Ministry Safe, which is an excellent program that I believe we should adopt as much of their practices as we can. They would be overseeing any medical events so that we would have be prepared to administer basic first aid, or that we would have an AED available, that we would ensure our offerings are safely transmitted, handled, counted, stored, and make it to the bank with safe handling practices, best practices. The safety team would be able to handle any unruly guests or drunk guests or violent guests, that there would be a plan in place and that there would be a team prepared to step in and deal with this on a volunteer level. The safety team would look out for me. You know, it's a weird world. Sometimes people don't like the preacher's message and they want to come and hassle you. So there would be at least one or two people that would have their eyes on me throughout the day. And lastly, the security system of our building. So we have a security system. We have door locks. We have a key policy. This team would oversee all of those concerns. I believe this position would also be able to work with basic insurance practices, liability, risk management. All of those things are on the table. The next team would be the facilities team. And so this is really similar to what we've just called the properties committee. This would be any renovations or upgrades to our building, any lawn care outside, our outdoor lighting, fixing broken things, furniture, flooring, electrical, bathrooms. If we need to hire any outside contractors to do work, they would oversee and secure that contract work. And they would oversee any janitorial crew that we have to clean our facility, to ensure our facility is clean and presentable for a Sunday. They would be ensuring the restocking of things like the soap in our bathrooms, or the TP, or all of those things, to make sure we're ready. Our property is ready to go, that there's not cobwebs hanging around and bugs, dead bugs all over the floor. So that would be the facilities committee, team, facilities team. Next is the finance team. This is a very close equivalent to what we have called the stewardship committee, but it would be all of the things related to our finance just in one area. So they would oversee the creation of the annual budget for our church, make any adjustments to the budget throughout the year as the needs of our church change or as the giving of our church fluctuates. If any changes need to be made, they would do that. This would include the areas of the treasurer, the tellers, the counting of money, paying of bills, payroll, anything involving finance within the life of our church. And lastly is the area of Mother's Day Out. I'll just say this about Mother's Day Out. It's sort of been maybe confusing of what to call them or what their relationship to us have been. Have they been outside mission partnership? Are they us? Are they a part of our church? So let's just make it clear. Let's just say it now. 7 of the 11 teachers at Mother's Day Out are Calvary Hills members. Okay, 52 kids meet here twice a week during the school year in our space. And so to me, that's us. We are owning that. That should be who we are. So MDO is a large ministry of this church, and I think, yes, it can be treated as a mission. We should treat those parents, because guess what? We don't know what parents are going to come bring their kids to us. We're not primarily seeking to provide for the children of Calvary Hills. It's open to anyone who would come. But it is not an external organization. So something can be both missionally focused, but also not an external organization. So I think we treat Mother's Day Out as us. It is a ministry of our church, just like our own children's department. And we should see it as a missional opportunity, but not treat it as an external partnership. So they are not classical conversations. There's a big difference. Mother's Day Out is us, and Classical Conversations is an external group that uses our space, but we still have a great relationship with them and want them to succeed and use them as a missional opportunity as well. But this would mean that we have a staff person at Mother's Day Out currently, but they would they would fall in line with the rest of our church in the direction of our church, and I would sort of become the de facto head administrator, though the Mother's Day Out director would obviously oversee 99% of the daily activities. So that's a picture of our 10 teams that I would like to launch this with. Again, it's not perfect. There's going to be some questions of, well, where does this go? Where does this go? How does this work? I have one more video that I want to make for you, and that's going to be, how do we fill these roles? Obviously, what you're seeing is going to involve a lot of change. So I thank you for your flexibility, but I really believe this is going to help us be as effective as possible for the kingdom. We're setting ourselves up for a model that will scale very well. If God continues to bless our church with numerical growth, with financial growth, as He has in the last year, we will be able to begin bringing on staff members to help us scale our growth. Each of these teams will be like a job description ready to go. It will be ideally one of these teams would just grow so much that a volunteer comes to me and says, hey, this is too much for a volunteer to do. And rather than split it, I think we should just bring on a paid person to handle this area as an associate pastor. And guys, I would love for that day to come, whether that's in the area of missions or music or education or children's, youth, I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be. The way that we grow will tell that story. Our needs will dictate what that is. But I hope that you guys are excited about this, because I am. I hope that I can get this implemented soon by the time that this comes to a church business meeting and I sort of pitch it, that you will already be aware of it because you watch these videos. So that's the goal of these videos, is that the first time you hear it, you're not surprised by it. So feel free to share these within our church body. I'm sort of making them private videos, not listed on our church YouTube, just that if you have the link, you can see them, because it's really sort of internal business for us. But feel free to share this link around with others. God bless, and I hope you wait for the next video to drop on this. Thank you, guys.